Brian, and probably others have thought of it too. Why, as you're working on Harold, you thought, like we said, we're going to celebrate the next level during this season, and we hope we can do these tools and not get into it like humans. Those thoughts are going out, and those that want to race the way they're looking at this season will have something to pull from.
Still on the news, because y'all heard about, maybe you all heard it, about the school in California, teaching children in grammar school a class on behavior. Did y'all hear about this? Teach them how to be kind.
Kindness, consideration, and honesty. Those are the three subjects that have they're compulsory subjects in an elementary school in Pasadena. And the principal said, these children come here, and because of the environment they come from, they don't know what it's like to be courteous to each other, or to put the other person first. And this is the way it's supposed to be. And he said, and these things that we're teaching them, and then they showed some videotape of several months after they had been teaching these three subjects to the youngsters, and they were really enjoying being considerate of each other and putting the other person first and practicing kindness and
so it's catching hold, and this is about all we can do with what we're doing right now. And they will receive the information according to their own computer. They might buy a big old happy birthday card. See? We just don't know how they would do it, but hopefully it will be more religious rather than buying.
commercial. That school, by the way, if I heard right, is a public school, not a private school. He said we're teaching religion. We're teaching ethics. Now you know why you're out
do we have any questions about the reason we brought this up was for you all to know that what you're working on is working. And as you read the things in the paper or see them on the news, it didn't happen just because it happened. It had to happen out of force to get to somebody. Now, this school in California didn't happen just recently, but it happened because and I firmly believe it because that's the word.
Well, this is a recent report.
Right, but the school has been going on.
The school has been there for some time, and they started this training program, but we believe it was they picked up on it. Another thing, we said Theodore doing some writing, and we don't know if the writing will ever reach the eyes but we know that what's going in the writing is reaching the mind. And maybe just to try to write or to put thoughts down or to discuss it the way we have to try to get orderly helps put them out in a more receivable way. It's just like as we discussed reviewing, you think about these things in the segments that you wrote. That probably by writing them and rewriting them, correcting your errors, and trying to see that they said what you thought we had taught you, helps them those become that better. We know that there's something at this stage of the human kingdom's primitive development that there's less misinterpretation, less mistranslation in our mental communication with them than there would be if it were taken from the Word. In other words, if they received the book, first of all, if you receive a book, over half the people that would read the book weren't looking for the information. They're reading the book for different reasons, curiosity, or to mock what you're saying, or one thing or another. They weren't reading the book because they were necessarily after the information. But what you're sending out there is for those who are after the information. And they're tuned to get it more accurately than those who would read it. And they can get your thoughts more clearly than they could your words. If you send it out and put it on the newsstands and at the bookstores, the mistranslation would be much greater, much more inaccurate. Now, this is to say that we might not still do some of that as well, but we see evidence every day of your homework paying off, and that's what we're finding out. Well, I don't see it, don't see it, don't even see that. I think that it's completely, in my mind, this is a completely consistent. I don't see any update to it. It's just a better understanding of the thing. It just reinforces, in my mind, that, because one of the first things that came into my mind when we started talking about the identity of your vehicle will remain, is I immediately looked back at what that might have meant to the identity of those who were followers, and how the Christian church began to move with some impact on our generation after his departure. After that time, it was almost had to be hidden. I mean, you almost had to, if you were known to have been a follower of Jesus, you almost had to be a secret organization or be beheaded. And it was very, but about a generation later, it's like the way humans are constructed, and even in this primitive condition, they somehow or other, they don't think badly of people after they're gone. And give them a few years, and they think a lot better of them than they did. And they, if they were questionable, they lose most of that questions about them. They start looking for the good. It's like there have been people that have even tried to point out the good of Hitler. Really, his motivation was good because he wanted to raise up the, they're looking at different aspects. They didn't want the whole world just condemning for what he did, except they're blaming him for Jewish acts. But other than that, a lot of people study how he had such a positive impact upon development of Germany. But somehow or other, it takes about a generation for that to blossom. But I can see, and I'm sure I can see that after Jesus left, and the mind that was in those disciples took root in other vehicles, that it planted more and more. What do you think ever got those people here and got them throughout the whole world? When here was just this happened in a day and time in a little country where people ordinarily never traveled more than 100 miles. If they were big travelers, they might travel 100 miles away from their roots in a lifetime. And now nothing has spread. There's not a religion on the globe. There's not a philosophy, anything that has spread with the strength and the impact that Jesus teaches has spread. And of course, there's been all the distortion, which is part of it, is still the primitive character of this period. They continue to pin down the information to help them progress to a certain point. And then that phase, it was time for that to end, and then to move into other areas. And you can see that other areas are now progressing at a rate. But it's true that it's been quite a long time since anything has been forward motion in art and music and most of the significant literature, plays, poetry, have any real significance. But we feel like the ones who were working on that at the next level were given the chance. And it's like then it was time for something else.
Also, the people have to go through what you're doing before they will begin to receive material. They make an excellent idea in some way. But sometimes I this is becomes a little bit, I'm not talking about Israeli, talking about
Not what?
different color hair and all that stuff. But I believe that they're trying to change, like all these groups are getting together now, trying to change the wording, the lyrics to the music, because they feel like it's so harmful to children. And children listen to it, and it's almost kind of like brainwashing. They play it over and over, and they put these earphones on, and they hear it, and they stop it, and do something to go physical. See, this is so continuous, it's such a continuous way. And I think they're in the process of trying to change it for the better.
We just a week or so ago, there was a new star, a male harpist with ensemble of instruments, and he gave a concert in Dallas a week or so ago, and I believe he's here here. And I'm very grateful, I don't remember, but maybe so. But we went into a bookstore and heard his music. And as we walked into the bookstore, and I said, it's really nice. And for that level of music, because it's pop, it's for young people. And but it's not the traditional pop. It's completely new now, completely different now. And it was very, very impressive. I was very impressed. And then we went back, and they had a big display of his works that was announcing in concert that very night here in Dallas, which is interesting. And then we heard on the news about him 2 or 3 times just following him. And to us, that was an indication of change taking place at that level. At the first glance, the lyrics were decent, and the sound was very, very nice, and but it also had some sparkle in it. It was like you were kind of like he had kind of combined little tiny characteristics of music from all over the globe and put them into a set of healing sound.
And the records were very
And his concert was a sellout. And here 1 week nobody heard of it. And the next week, I can't remember his name, but if I hear it again, or if we see a little tape of it, maybe we'll let you just hear it just for the, because it's not that we think it's great. It's certainly not anything that's a milestone, but it's a change further in the right direction.
I doubt very seriously if anything new will come down until we see it.
That's right.
Because it's like getting the crop ready for or some
Preparing it.
new knowledge or new fancy, what is it?
Sewing.
Okay. They're preparing the world or whatever we're involved in. They're preparing it for whatever is happening. And I feel first, I know that once I'm sending them this thing out and this is something that is done with just it's involved like but anyway.
Yes, you're involved with this and what you're involved with.
But the garden.
We're not paying any more attention. Okay, that's why she said shut up, then she wrote it in one stop. We don't know anymore than that. We're just being speculation. Arthur?
As far as and then looking back on our previous understanding of the past few years, all those concepts that we wow, that's pretty different, or what, I don't know if the right word is. You can come to that's what it is. And this present finality. And I'm not allowed to share, but when you brought it up, it seemed like it came all the way back around to the top of the bottom. And I know that's what it's saying in form, but I was that's about that's going on in my brain, my mind, or whatever, but that's where
It feels that way. Funny thing is, it's hard in primitive beings to, even with next level mind, and even, we know that we're limited to the degree of next level mind that we can get into the vehicle. And we're trying to break that limit. We're trying to make records, a new record of what can, of the amount of mind that can come into reason on the other side of a primitive vehicle. On the other side, we can focus in the presence of the vehicle so that it can enter the vehicle constantly. When we talking about negative forces, things like that, and that lesson that we brought up, I can't help when you mention that, but think of how hard it is for us to stay objective when it comes to areas of conduct and put that in a pure objective perspective of illness. It's just not a real obvious ones we can't. Like, when somebody murders someone, it just breaks our hearts that they go and strap them and just break that individual down with punishment and agony or go and kill him. Because we know that person who has murdered someone, in other words, it's stupid for it to ever come in a court and say that we ruled him sane, and therefore he must be murdered. And who's sane at that point when the court rules this person sane and then they go and murder him? That's insane to us. I mean, the words get all mixed up because we know that no one could do an act like that was healthy. They couldn't possibly do something like that if they were healthy. Now let's go to more minor
conduct offenses. Like even the things that your vehicles try to get away with in poor conduct. To be totally objective about it, we know that your vehicles are very ill, emotionally, mentally, and ill being partially ill and partially just because of an apprentice condition, but partially ill. But your task is to override the ailment as well as the primitive nature. You're to get enough mind in that if your vehicle is still sick in ways that would cause you to be emotionally unstable or to have poor responses, your task is to get enough mind in to override those things. And to see the house that you're wearing has a very inferior suit of clothes that has all kinds of problems with it, but you're not excusing any of your actions because you have the capacity to override all of those problems. And that's the task. So, but a lot of you still, when your vehicle does something wrong, when you're blaming your strain or you're blaming your vehicle, you still don't see it objectively. You still see it in the same way that we just condemned. You want to punish it. You want to run it down. You want to fuss at it and condemn it, and you'd like to strap it if you could, instead of realizing that it's only doing it because it is unhealthy. It is not well. Plus, it is primitive. And therefore, you've got to pull more next level mind in to see those conditions as controllable. We know when your vehicle acts up in ways that are unlike next level conduct, and because it responds to things you say or things you do to one another, we simply know that for that period of time, your next level mind has received. You have permitted the next level mind to receive. The vehicle has more control at that point. Or you could not see things or respond the way that you're doing. Do you understand that? And therefore, we try to get through to you to say, this isn't you. This isn't, it's not even your strength. We can't mark it off as your strength or you, because that would excuse it. What we've got to do is help you towards more next level mind to quickly come to your rescue, because you can receive to a certain degree and with a certain amount of repetition and endurance, or let's say that you receive to a certain distance from the vehicle and stay gone for quite a while. The next thing you know, the vehicle has locked in, and it has once again become the degree that it is right there of its primitive nature and its human characteristics. And the mind of the vehicle is then the best you can hope to get out of it. And that's why you have to be not afraid of your vehicle. You've got to know your vehicle. Know it and not be afraid. Not be afraid of its ill conduct. Know that you can conquer its ill conduct. And get him enough that when you see what's happening, that's not a reason for backing off. That's the reason for going forward with next level mind. Now, each time you go forward when the vehicle is acting up in that way, you force next level mind in, there's a great deal of resistance. And it takes suffering to work against that resistance. Okay, a type of suffering. It's not suffering of a downer, a depression. It's the kind of suffering that if you were lifting weights and you had to get 2 more inches up, and you think those weights are just impossible to get those last 2 inches up, but you know that your life depends on it, and you do it. Now, if you go ahead and put the weights back down, a few minutes later, you're going to be even more convinced that you can't lift that weight again, because you couldn't do it. You have already set one pattern of can't do, and it's harder to break that one if you had never done a can't do. Can you follow that? That's the reason it's so important to stay on top of your reading. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It makes sense in my mind. Does it make any sense? Mind of that vehicle. Well, because the next level mind has almost been shut out, because you've let the vehicle have so much range that the mind of the vehicle is saying to the next level mind, stay away. And it takes almost something shocking that scares the vehicle and throws it out of whack to give the next level mind an opportunity to come back in. And not just a minute. Not that enough of your Do you follow that?
Next level mind does not write back vibration communication. And it will get into a position where it will feel that vibration. In other words, in the vehicle, if you have allowed the vehicle to have the upper hand, the next level mind will not fight with you. But like Joe said, some shock is like the slamming of a door. And it's shocking you, it's scaring you so that your next level mind will take the opportunity to come in and take over and stop it.
That's right. Or it might be the shock that you get, that a vehicle gets on suddenly hearing itself talking about throwing all this down the drain. And it's kind of, no, goodness, I haven't had those kinds of vibrations, haven't had that kind of thing hit me. Or you might have something that just knocks the living daylights out of your thinking. And suddenly it opens the door for the next level might come back in and say, now wait a minute. I'm not going to let this, I'm not going to throw this away just because it's just foolishness. But you see, in a sense, the next level mind is responsible because back when the reins were still within grasp, the next level mind had a better opportunity of bringing the reins back under control. It's when the next level mind started loosening the reins. Now, how do you loosen the reins? You loosen the reins by letting the vehicle's mind start expressing its negativity and continue to express its negativity and continue to express its negativity to itself or to get away with more conduct. If you let that happen and let it linger and let it happen, the reins are just out of control. And it takes almost some experience to get back. But I want to change the subject just slightly. But it's something that brings to mind that I don't know how to put it in words, but there's the vitality that has to be regained on the other side of the vitality that you had when your vehicle mind was pleased with its actions and conduct. Now, all of you went through a period, and some of you still at times go through the period, if not all of you. You go through a period of when you're trying to apply so much discipline to your vehicle that your vehicle just feels like it has taken abuse. I mean, if it had an opportunity to repressive. It would say, all I get from you is repression. You know, you never let me do anything. You never give me anything I would like to have. You never let me do the things that I would like to do. It doesn't say this because you don't let it. It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get it out to words, but it's feeling it. Okay. Now, you've got to get enough, and it will be contagious. The vehicle's mind itself will catch the disease, and it's a good disease. You've got to get enough next level mind in that you can have some pride in accomplishment in next level ways. Now, you used to have pride in accomplishment in human ways, as a vehicle and the vehicle mind. And then by disciplining and disciplining and disciplining, the vehicle's pride was destroyed. And therefore the vitality of having accomplished something has almost just been muted. And some of you, I'm sure, have difficulty when we still seem at times to hammer on, or to help you hammer on your own vehicle. And your vehicle could think, well, he and Doe is hammering on me. And your next level mind should say, yes, they are, thank goodness. They're trying to help me hammer on you because I need some help to hammer on you. But the point is that does not give you an excuse to become so repressed. You don't have, it does not have to go along with becoming a robot. You've got to get this vitality and this feeling of accomplishment of the next level mind in so that you can have a new sense of pride. I don't know how to put some better words, if I could just think of some better words, but some of these times I don't feel like you have much pride. I'm not talking about human pride. I'm talking about vehicular pride. Because the kind of pride that you have is not common to the vehicle pride. It's the pride of liking the next level ways, though, that you are seeing that you are accomplishing, always using your check partner, always doing this, always doing that, and you're developing then a sense of pride of doing things the way the next level does. And then this vitality starts to come to both of us. And you begin to have more, as we've talked about this before, you begin to have a little bit more independence. You begin to not separate from, but strength, which makes you a better check partner with others, because you're dealing less with the vehicle problem. You're more reticent to make decisions on your own or to take initiative where it doesn't belong. And that means I am accomplishing something. It doesn't mean I'm being repressed. It means I'm accomplishing something. The vehicle would say if you gave it a chance, it's being repressed. Because you're not letting the vehicle handle the circumstances the way the vehicle would handle it. But if you go ahead and do things and work and accomplish things and prove your next level capacity, then a new sense of pride comes in. That it's not pride that I have, it's pride that we have. You see what I'm saying? It's not pride. It's pride that I like because I know it's exactly the same thing that you have, and that you have. When you have enough sense of mind in to accomplish something according to next level rules. It's a good thing. And so if you at times start, I've got the doldrums because we've helped you hammer on your vehicle, push through and get your mind determined and know for a fact that you can override the ailment and the undevelopment of your vehicle, and you can do things according to the next level way. And will gain a sense of pride in doing it. And then when you have that pride, joy should come in. I don't mean a corny joy. I mean some more depth of joy than you have ever had. Not a giddy thing, not a kind of joy for the moment, but a feeling. It's on the other side. I don't know how to express it because it's on the other side. It's like that next level mind has come through that vehicle, has forced the mind of the vehicle and the instrument of the vehicle itself to do what it wants to do in spite of its problems. And to treat all those problems as merely it would a button that needs to be sewed on, or it's simply a task. It's just a matter-of-fact, objective task to treat those deficiencies of the vehicle that way. So, wait on that, but I feel like some of you need to let that next level mind come in more and have this new pride. Now, you've got to know the difference. It can't be the vehicle's pride. If it's the vehicle's pride, it will be the vehicle wanting its way. It will be wanting to do things human way instead of accomplishing everything according to the practice.
Harmony and like-mindedness and concentration, and that something happens, and all together. And there was
we know exactly what you're talking about, and the little task that you're doing now with the carols can be an opportunity to develop it, but it's also a fragile task. So we don't want it to get too confident in it, because it could change. The vehicle could try to change it. So we hope that you will, with much care, keep it in the place that you're talking about. And it takes every single one of you keeping it that way for it to come out with a super feeling, next level super feeling. Cody? Humanness. Or let's say that your vehicle says, I'm tired of doing this. What do you want me to do? Be a musician? What kind of next level task is it for me to be a musician? Something it would be the same thing as if you had a task in the lab and somebody said, I didn't think I left the vehicle say, I didn't think I was going to spend the rest of my life being a cook. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the same kind of thing of letting the vehicle, anything the vehicle could say to discredit the task or to discourage your complete joy in it is the vehicle's mind trying to cause you problems.
getting tired of it, losing interest in it, and not actually participating in it, but just pretending like you're participating. In other words, if you're to learn a certain, if Joe gives an instruction, I haven't been here when he's given you instructions, but if he tells you to follow the bouncing ball or something like that, then you don't do it, but you listen to the person next to you and you try to go along with what they're doing and you don't try to apply what Joe has told you to do, then in a sense you're losing interest in it and you're not
trying to shortcut the task.
Right. In other words, that's your vehicle, actually, and not your next level mind. In other words, sometimes the vehicle will have a predetermined idea of what it wants to do. It doesn't want to stand around thinking. Now, if that's the case, then if it were me, I would stand around singing. I wouldn't let my vehicle get away with it.
You don't have a singing task. You have a task. It just happens to be singing. And it's no different than if we gave you a task washing cars.
If you figure out ways to get out of it, if you don't do it when others are practicing and you're supposed to be practicing and you don't put any more effort out in the direction of doing it, you think that the next level will want to give you another task.
Yeah, I thought, so-and-so, they can do this. They've had experience. They know how to do this. I can't do this. Why am I doing this? You know, if you listen to those kind of thoughts of the vehicle, now these are all the destructive thoughts we're talking about.
That's the reason we're saying that this is a very delicate task that you're doing. And so you've got to absolutely be prepared to not let a humanism come into the task. And it is absolutely no different from any other task that we have given. Now, and it's funny how the vehicle, because it is a human characteristic for some humans to think to be that singing is not macho. Now, I'm just naming some of the human characteristics of singing is macho, and it isn't. It's okay for some. Let's never agree. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm talking to you. It's the same kind of thing that you would do about cooking or something, or hiking. Some people do hiking. But I've never done it. You know, and we because the next level doesn't, when you get out of these vehicles and you're back to the next level and you're given a test, no thought is going to come in of whether or not it is this kind of test or this kind of test. It's a test, and you're so thrilled to have a test. And it doesn't matter what kind of test it is. What you hope is that you do the test to the best of your capacity. And that's all the next level has. That's the most the next level could have. And that means, let's say that we give you all the jobs of programming computers. And you say, well, goodness, I love it. It's really, or yourself, they may know what they've done. But if you do, let's say we give you 3 weeks assigned tasks involving with the computers. For any of you to not give it your best shot for those 3 weeks might be not good enough. And it's the same thing with the Carol thing. Because it's just simply the best shot that you can give it, not listening to any negativity, wanting to, like all those things we try to give you, use the ear more than the voice, and all of those things to try to get your best performance out of the test. And any task that is given to you, as long as you're in these vehicles, there are going to be a few programs to be in opposition to the task. If you listen to that program, and if there's no task that can give you, that there would be a few vehicles, if you listen to the vehicles, that would be programmed in opposition to it. I tell you what, it really does mind. This is getting kind of personal, but I don't think people mind. But what you should listen to is any disappointment. Where your frame of mind should be is if there's something that I can do in this task that they just want me to do, that's what I want to do. And now we've given you permission, we gave others permission during the duration of this task, that if want to work a little bit to see if you can increase the provisions of the tax. But if we had 0 years colorblind, to a degree, I thought somebody had a degree of colorblind. You got to know it? You never learned color. You had a degree of colorblind? What? Well, let's use color science. We won't use the road. Okay. But let's say that a vehicle has color coding, and we gave you a task involving careful handling of colors. Now, the big test that would come to the next level line handling the vehicle that has color coding would be, am I going to feel an outcast at this point? Am I going to let this disappoint me? Am I going to pout? Or am I going to feel like I can't perform in this, that something's wrong with me? Now let's Paul Otis here that in relationship to this particular range of frequencies that involves speech, the ear does not want to respond. There's a breakdown between the ear's mechanism and the voice. And to what degree that could be brought under control in the time that we have allowed to go is, I don't know. I would have to spend some time, a great deal of time with quality every day to determine what degree of limited capacity is there. But, Paula, you know that we don't realize you are starting to test. You would start to test if you had a poor attitude, or if you weren't, like the first night that we were in practice, and I asked Paula not to. I felt like Paula sat there and necessary. He watched every single thing that was happening and seemed extremely interested. And I didn't see anything. I don't know what he was fighting off, but I didn't see any vibration on his face of a downer or being disappointed or feeling like we've been unfair to him or anything of that nature. He was being cheated on this task or cheated for her. I didn't feel that at all. Now, if you've had to deal with that, I don't know, you may have. And if you have, then, of course, I can tell you've done a good job of fighting off. We've had a great deal of concern with how this caller is going to handle this relationship to this man, hoping that it would not discourage him. But now, far more serious would be if an individual whose performance capacity was considerably better than caller is, and they put very little effort out to develop. Follow what we're saying. Does everybody understand that? Far more serious would be for someone whose vehicle has more capacity because he does have a biological deficiency there. And but it's nothing more than if Rhodey did have a degree of color blinding and we gave a color test. And Rhodey had to sit there and say, I don't know why he thought that, because it was green to me, or whatever it was. And you might hear those things and wonder how they can match the tone, because it is not your voice that can't go up to those higher notes. It's the signal of the brain from the ear that can't tell the voice to go on. It can make it work only in the range of a few notes. Now, this vehicle, a long time ago, or many times, has worked with vehicles with that same problem. And usually with very little improved results, even after a great deal of effort, and where the individuals would give anything if they could have gotten more out of it. But it just wasn't mechanically there in the end. Now, I'm not saying it's the case in your vehicle, because I don't know exactly how that is, because I haven't spent that much time with it just by myself. going to the next level by having a vehicle that has the efficiency in it. But you do lose market by not getting the most out of the capacity that you have to use. Worry about enjoying it too much. Only if your enjoyment becomes liberty, or if it becomes an interference for others. If you do it in a restrained way, and you're not just driving people crazy because all you want them to do is get out of the way so you can get there and practice your part, then that would be going to an extreme. But actually, you can't exactly do that because the way the task is broken down, it requires that all of you rest considerably because you can't all be practicing at the same time. Or can you? You figure you've got one tape over there, one tape over there, one tape over there, one tape over there. Okay. Now, if you work more than an hour and a half to 2 hours without a considerable rest period, because you're not accustomed to it, you can start to get little tightness in the throat, hoarseness, what else do they call it? Oh, I don't think it'd be that serious, but probably just a little hoarseness.
Are there any individuals who have the pressure? I have all of the pressure. Yes, sir, you're going to I don't wear that.
What do you say? You think we need to get them guidelines?
Well, remember, you're being judged on
Discretion.
your judgment. You're being tested and judged on your judgment. And you've got to be able to spend time with the faith. Faith is more important than not necessarily a certain taste. I mean, you can listen to a taste and put it into practice in the process of doing your work. I don't know that you need to have a time in agree, but you just can't. Like tonight,
Can't throw everything out.
like tonight when I felt like your mind were more on music than on what we were trying to say. In other words, it was very difficult for me to do what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm sitting here because of the lack of suction coming from you all. Not that your attention wasn't good. I mean, your eyes were watching us, and so far no one seems to look like they're about to fall asleep. But I felt I did not feel the strong desire to draw out information from it.
Just first dreaming all the time.
All the time. Am I wrong? In other words, you don't want to get so much into the music that you forget what you're supposed to be doing. And you don't want to forget your task of keeping your vehicle under control, warding off anything that might be coming your way. And you've got to have your mind in even when you're practicing your music. Because if your mind was in your vehicle when you're doing the music tonight, I would have felt your mind more strongly. Do you follow this? Now, I'm not putting you down because all of this is what we're learning. It's how to do things under doing a task like this. It's the first time we've had it. And I must admit, I'm glad that the time is almost over because it has been very uncomfortable for me sitting here. And the time has gone by so slowly. And that's not like me to feel this way. See what I'm saying? So what you want to do is be careful of how much mind you have on that music. Now we want you to, we don't want you to drop it because that's not what I'm saying. But you don't want to get it off balance. You want to have time to do what you're supposed to do. Now you might say, music has made me feel better, which we're very happy for that. But have you been happy as a member of the next level? Or has your vehicle just been happy to be able to do something that it likes to do? You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about. Alexander?
Well, I'll be probably honest with you. You know, if you just told me trying to I feel like it started to work getting into it. From my point of view, the vehicle I would say the basis of practicing. I would want to be practicing, but I'm trying to figure out they spend, or most of the parents spend almost the majority of the whole free day singing. My point of view would be that I would want to be participating every minute and not being concerned with whether I'm spending too much time because of what time frame I'm looking. Well, but see, you were slow to want to practice as much as some of the others anyhow. So if I were your next level mind, I would say I'm going to get back in there and practice as much as anybody else and like it as much as they do and not listen to my vehicle. And if Link pulls back the degree of practicing on this test, I'll go back with the rest of it. I'm certainly not going to go back by myself because at this point I have been listening to the vehicle's desire to pull me separate from it. You see what I'm saying? Now my hope was, and I think where I'm confused a little bit on this, is I don't look at it as music. And because I look at it as a task we've given you to do for a period of time. And but he must feel something about it that has brought in some humanness or something, or it wouldn't. If I understood you right, it feels unpleasant to you. Their vibrations, because it says task.
No, that's not what I was saying. No, what I was saying was that I feel like your mind is more on music or on this task than on what we're doing at this time. Because I don't feel you're trying to draw any information from it.
All right.
This is what I was
okay. He's saying that we don't want the task that is involving the music to slow down other progress of information.
Yeah.
Do you follow what I'm saying now? I'm just trying to say it in a different way. But this doesn't mean that we're trying to knock out this task. But we're trying to say, like, if we come to talk to you, we come to talk to you hopefully that some new information has come to us. But if all of your attention has been on the music task, even though it's been in the proper way as a task, you may not have been pulling. But the funny thing is, if you were even working on the music task with the right next level mind, you would have been pulling because of the way you would have approached the task. It would have brought. I hate to think that boredom has to be the only stimulus for new information. Because to me, as you work on any task, circumstances will come that will cause you to desire new information. Circumstances within the framework of that task. Now, if you're approaching that task at the level that humans would approach the task, or degree of that, then less would be bringing in new information. Is this what you're saying?
Yes.
Or am I not thinking
No,
right?
that's right. And another thing, I'm going to add to what Tom said. What happens when we're sitting here with you? Frequency. If you aren't trying to absorb the frequency, it isn't going to just push its way into you. And when did we have a meeting last? What's the frequency? Was it last Wednesday? Saturday? Okay, and
Yes, it was Wednesday.
okay, Wednesday, and sometimes we have it Wednesday and Friday, and then Sunday or Saturday morning. So it's been a while since you've had frequency. So what does that mean? You haven't used up the frequency that was given to you on Wednesday, which means what? You haven't used your next level mind enough. Okay, so what you want to do when you do this thinking, this task, this hidden task, you want to make sure you're using your next level mind. You don't, because evidently the way it sounds, a lot of energy has been put in that direction. And therefore, a lot of time has been put in that direction. And so that means that your next level mind must not be in operation during that time, otherwise the frequency would have been used up. Okay, you follow that? Now we want you to figure out how to use your next level mind. I mean, it's as simple as that when you're singing.
I don't, I'm a little troubled about guidelines, but I feel like if you've used, I'm just going to go wildly, but let's say that you have worked more than, as an individual, more than, say, 3.5 hours or something in a day, that you've probably done too much. I don't know how many hours that you have worked on this task, but I'm just using that as a guess, because I would rather that you, if you're really enjoying the task, that if the spacing, that I would be more eager the next time the work period came around, and I would work a little harder at doing it. I don't want you to do it so much that you're not really working very hard when you are working, or with much intensity when you are working. Do you follow that? Because you can move faster if the periods that you are working on the task are a little bit more intense for development. You certainly, we hope you're above liking to just think. If that's what you're doing, it's shot. It's not a task at all. Do you follow that? If you're just doing it because you like to think. Because we've given you in this little task a lot of guidelines on how to make the task develop in a very special way. That means nobody should be doing it just liking to think. So those things, don't you think that if they were doing more than that, it might be excessive? Wouldn't you say so? Do you think that's too big?
I don't want you all to feel badly, okay? Because we'd like to see you happy, and we like to see you happy with the task. But we also want you to do it as members of the next level. We can't stand still while we learn how to sing carols.
No.
You know, now,
we can move forward while we're singing carols.
We can move very fast if you all do it in the right way. Now, I'll say something else that might depress you a little bit. And that is, we started not to even have a meeting tonight. Which means also that we came before you had used the frequency up. Okay? Now, I don't want you to be depressed over it. The only thing I want you all to do is try to figure out how to do it as members of the next level using your mind. And that will, and we want to be able to have our meetings on a regular basis and in between have chiropractic. Okay, Roger. You do what your instructor, your teacher, told you to do, and to do it as the best that you can. But you take everything into consideration. In other words, you are aware of the shoes, how much seating is going on, how long you're doing it. Are you letting some things go in order to practice? Are you being inconsiderate?
Meaning other responsibilities.
Other responsibilities. In other words, you don't let this task take priority over other things. And
I think we never said that you did we? So that means you can't let anything drop.
Now, what's so funny is when you start out to do the task, if you say, I want to use my next level mind and I want to do it as a member of the next level, you are using your next level mind. If you're thinking in that way. But if you come in and it never enters your mind to do it, then your next level mind isn't going to be doing it.
I think what we're zeroed in here is that there's been some mixture. Now, probably what Narodi was expressing is at times when next level mind was in control of the task, there was a real neat feeling about it. But I feel like we needed to have this discussion with you about this task so that you approach it not as music at all, and that you see that how you function in it is as the next level task, and that it be your next level mind doing the task, and that you don't slip into even any degrees of humanism in the task. And if a next level mind is doing this task, it does not mean that, like, let's say that if that you didn't have these vehicles to do this task, but we gave you a task involving singing in the next level vehicle. Okay? Then we gave you a task that involved singing. That during the time you were doing the task of singing, your pulling would not reduce at all. And the moment that we came to meet with you for a question and answer period or for new information, your ears would have been already plugged into the reception of new information instead of maybe still some residual of the task about the music. Do you follow that? Does that make any sense to you?
You want to be ready to listen to what you know, you don't want to be told you that. You want to be ready to go on. Well, it depends on how you start out. In other words, both thoughts are good, but you also want to start out by saying, I want to do it the way the next level would do it. Any task that you do, and this is any task, if it's out mowing the lawn, if it's washing the car, if it's preparing banana pudding, whatever it is, if you start out by saying, I want to do this task, like a member of the next level will do it, I want to do it with my mind totally, then you are automatically doing it. And that's so simple. If you could just remember to think in that way, and then try to keep that thought in your mind all the time.
I think part of what Shirodi's saying, everybody's saying is that I'm responsible for the No, what she's saying is that they want so badly to please the teacher when the teacher returns, that, and because I said we've got a lot we'd like to accomplish, I put a little pressure on it.
I know, but that's perfectly okay. But you still need to practice it with those.
That's right.
If we come in and say, now we want you all to pull all this furniture out of here, and we want to mop the floor and roll up this carpet, mop the floor and polish it and everything, that doesn't mean all of you start running around and getting in each other's way and making a big mess. Does it? Okay, that's the same thing. You start out by saying, well, I want to handle this task the way a member of the next level would handle it, and with my next level mind.
Utilizing my time for best efficiency.
When you go to your how to craft task, the ones of you who have it, if you walk in on the way over to your how to craft task, there's a shuttle, and as you prepare yourself, I want to make this day totally, and do it the way a member of the next level would do it. Using my next level mind in my decisions, in my actions, in every way. But I also want to play act as a human, because you can't give yourself away. Now, if you do that, you are using the frequency. You are drawing it in, and you will have a nice little trail following you everywhere you go. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly what that meant, like what that you were aware that we had some questions, or that there might be things about the information that we haven't been asked.
Well, last time we had a meeting, we knew that there were still some questions about the information, but some of the hands that came up with questions wasn't about the information. But during the course of the meeting, we did get the questions that we were expecting about the information, but we wanted to put them on top priority because we felt like that's the reason we were here, and that we could move faster if we got those questions assimilated in your head, because then the suction cup would start for next step.
If any information that we give to you brings up a question in your mind, like something that you don't quite understand, or, well, that would be no mistake, then this is what we want you to break up.
Your vehicle's brain would still be wondering about that story that you didn't get finished. It wouldn't occur to us, I don't believe, to turn it on to 6 o'clock.
If it was 6 to 7.
Was it turned on tonight? 60 minutes?
Well, it's kind of hard to, we're not supposed to say, you know, don't turn it on, but it's silly to do it, but if it was 55 minutes, you know, you make the last 5 minutes, that would be okay.
Sure.
But what you
That's
want
an hour show, isn't it? 60 minutes. Yes, it's a 60-minute show. And well, first of all, to me, usually, when we're meeting at 6:15, I usually think that a few minutes before that, you're scurrying around, getting the chairs in place, and doing, I don't know how you could have more than 5 minutes to even see more than what's going to come on the show anyhow. And why would you want to know if you're not going to get up to it?
And you don't get to watch the Murder, She Wrote tonight because there's no it's been fast, and that's what some people worry about.
Just happens tonight.
You're verifying what I know.
But I didn't even know it was anywhere.
Why, yeah. Fast.
Well, you've got to really shift your gear. You've got to shift your gear.
They sure did. We said we were going to stop questions. Unless she answers.
Okay.
We'll talk to you.
Okay.